All right. Cool. It looks like we are live. Welcome to the new studio, everyone. Feels good to be here right now. I don't know how many of you guys are going to make it tonight, but I got you guys up, so I'm able to get our chat going as well and follow along any doubts or questions with you guys. Welcome to the new studio. Like I said, here it is. We got disorders what we have right now. So I have everything everywhere. I got guitars and cameras and everything lying around. But hopefully by the time that we have another live class, you should be able to come here and go, oh, Tyler, it looks fantastic, my friend. Yes. Okay. All right. So we are continuing where we picked up from the last class. I know it feels like 3 weeks ago, probably was, because of all these moving and all these other crazy things that happen tax season. But we are talking about how to read music that is in a different sheet or in a different key. So you should still have that fake book, but I attached it on there too as well. So that is up, and you go to the scheduled events. Make sure that you guys are here with me in Patreon as well. April 20th, 5:01 p.m. That should be out. Oh, it should be just getting started right now. All right, So you should have two things in your key signature, or in the attachment of this one. You should have something called key signatures. Okay, so what is a key signature? A key signature is what you do when you look at a sheet music, and it will tell you what key you're in. So if you download that PDF, it kind of looks like a circle of fists. That's what I'm looking at right now. And you'll see, for example, C major, our key for C major, has just a little squiggly line, and all our lines, every good boy deserves fudge, but we don't have any sharps or flats on there. If you go to the right, to the G, you will see a sharp sign on the very top. So what does that mean? Well, if you go through, every good boy deserves fudge. That means in the key of G, you have an F sharp, okay? If you go to the D, we see two sharps. We see one on the F, and we see another one on the C. Every good boy, D. So between the B and the D, we have a hashtag. That means that D has a C sharp and also an F sharp. And as you go around the wheel, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 major keys, and each one of those keys has its own key signature. Now, you could commit those to memory, or you could just have that handy with you, and anytime you pop open your sheet music and you look down there, hey, Robbie, I'm on page 422 right now, my man. We're on page 422, but we're talking about key signatures in general, okay? So that's why in the attachment on the Patreon one, in the live lesson, there's a download that I'd like you to download. But you don't need it right now, but that's what we're going to work on. So after that, what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down to page 422 on the fake book, because I would like us to be able to take that paper with the key signatures and look at this one and identify what key we are in, okay? So we look at the key signature, and we see we have one little B, one little flat. So there's, in this scale that we're in, or in the key we're in, we don't have any sharps, we just have a flat. As we go up there, we have every, so it's not an E, good, so it's not a G, boy, B. So there is a B flat in this key, which means at the same time, there's no Bs, okay? So if you look at that key signature sheet that was attached as well, and we go over and we start to look around our keys, which one of these has just one flat? All right. To the left of the C, if we look at the key of F, we see that we have just one little flat on the B, making us in the key of F. I'm writing to Robbie right now to make sure that he knows that I got those questions covered, all right? So if you're watching this in Patreon, make sure you click on it on Patreon and open this video in YouTube, because if you get over to YouTube, you are able to, in the chat, ask me some questions as we're working with this live, all right? Now, I kind of keep a track on the Patreon one as well to make sure that I'm seeing any questions over there or anything's happened over there, but it's a little easier if you can get those questions over on the YouTube stream. Now, having said that, hopefully in the future I'll have another separate monitor that I can do this with a little bit. Okay, so now we've determined the key, and we've determined that there is one B or one flat in there. Now, that means any time that you see a B, it's going to be a B flat. So why don't we just run through that scale? F, G, A. Now, normally, because the major scale, you play that B, but because we're in F, we're going to play B flat. So on the E string, we have 1, 2, down to the A string, open 1, B flat, 3, 4, 5, 1. Because that means if you were to play this on a piano, only one of those notes would be a black key. The black keys are the sharps and the flats. So that's your B flat. So we're on page 422. I'm going to type this in the comments too. We are on page 422. We got the key of F with the key signature sheet attached in the Patreon post. All right, now I'm just doing this so anyone who's hopping on here can kind of follow along with that as well, okay? So, what a wonderful world. Let's take a look at this one. I see trees of green as our first phrase. Well, we got an E. We know it's not a D. We go down another one because on that little line below there, and that would be a C. These lines that extend through the bottom work the same way. There's a note between those two lines. So the E would be that bottom line, and this new line we created would be the C, because there's a note between that. So it goes E, D, C. We have C for I, and the word C is going to be E, and then trees is an F. So our first phrase is C, E, F, or open C string, open E string, F. Okay, and then it goes of green. So we're going to count again. Every good, it's an A, every good, because it's not on the line, it's right after that, it's an A. And the next note for green is every good boy, and it's right after that, it's a C. So our first phrase is, or E. Now, eventually, when you guys are doing this, eventually it's going to get pretty cool if you're able to actually say the notes instead of just the tabs. While you're learning these ideas and you're committing some of these songs to memory, if you start to say the notes, you're really, really going to get to know your fretboard, which is going to be highly advantageous as well. So our phrase is going to go C, E, F, A, C. And even if you're singing poorly, it helps to sing along too as well. C, E, F, C, E, F, A, C. Or open, open, 1, open A, 3. That's our first phrase, okay? Phrasing is something that's important to me as well. So maybe in the future, what we're going to do is look at phrasing, because when you understand the power of phrasing, you're really able to put some of these ideas into play. All right, and then we get to red roses too. So we look at that red roses 2 phrase, and we go up, every good boy D, deserves fudge. But if we look at the harmony, we see right away that the harmony is a B flat. Which shouldn't surprise you, because we've already determined with our key signature that our flat note is the B flat. Even though the note is D, we get red roses 2, which is D, 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 C. So that next phrase would be 5, 5, 5, 3. So up to there, we have right? 0, 0, 1, 0, 3, 3, 3, 3, 5. C, E, F, A, C, D, 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 C. And then from 2, it's going to go G7 to F, and we see I see them bloom. Again, anyone catching up right now? We're on page 422 of the Jazz Facebook, and we've determined that we are in the key of F. 2 vital pieces of information, all right? So we get up there, and we see I see them bloom, all right? So we get every good boy. Okay, well, every good boy, we should be playing a B, correct? 2nd fret. Well, that sounds a little funny. Let me hear what happens in the context. That doesn't sound right. Well, why doesn't it sound right? Okay, this is the key, folks. This is the game changer. This is the one that lets you know how to read these songs in any key. It doesn't sound good because B is not in the key of F. B flat is in the key of F. And we got that information from our key signature by having that little flat symbol directly on the 3rd line where the B is. So by understanding the key signature, we get something that sounds like this. All right, and that was I see them bloom, bloom being the A note. And then for me and you, every good G, 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 F. And I, F, F. Think to myself, F, 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 F. What a F, F. Wonderful world is going to be E, F, G, A. Okay, so let's go ahead and play through that whole phrase. Okay, good, Robbie, I got a question. I'm curious, if it's B flat, why do you use the D note on the 5th of the A string and not the D on the 2nd of the C string? I understand it sounds better. It's just a matter of playing around and finding which one works best. Okay, so Robbie, there's 2 answers to your question. One of them is when I'm arranging on the ukulele, it is my goal to make sure that all of the notes are going to fit into the tune. So if I use the D note on the C string, what's going to happen is that D note has a lot of notes below it, and I just do not have the range. That is why I put it on the 5th one here. In general, with the sheet music, well, not in general, always, for example, we have the D on the 5th string, and the next note is a C note, but it's below it. So you kind of are looking for the D that fits in the range of the ukulele. If I were to play this D here on the 2nd fret, then I would not be able to get the entire melody in there. By that same token, if I were to play the D note here, well, I would have a chance because that's actually the same note. But if I were to play the D note on the 14th fret of the C string, I'm not going to be able to get it in there. So it's a matter of choosing the notes that are going to fit within the range of my fretboard. And that's where I get that from, okay? So we're not going to analyze this whole tune, but we're going to go through that phrase. Okay, that helps. I waste a lot of time finding which one works best. This is going to be a time saver. It's a huge time saver, Robbie. One of the very first things I do with these sheet music idea guys and gals is I find the lowest note in the sheet music and I find the highest note in the sheet music. And I play the lowest note and then I play the highest note to see if I can even get it on the ukulele. If I can't, that's when I start to think about transposition. If my lowest note, for example, is a B note and I don't have a low G, okay, and that means my lowest note is going to be way up here. And if it's an octave, it's going to be way up here. So the key of B might not be the best for me to play that tune. And that's where transposition comes in. But the first thing I do, the very, very first thing I do is I identify the lowest and highest note, and then I map them out to see if I have space on the ukulele, all right? Okay, so we've already looked at key signatures and that little chart and how we use that to read sheet music in different keys. So now we can read them in all the keys that we want. I want to look a little bit about the phrasing of this melody as well, now that I have your ear, and kind of talk about some fun ideas for your own chord melodies or melody in general. Let me play through the melody, the principal phrase one time. Okay, now if you were to listen to that melody, what are some of the things that jump out to you right away? One of them, a good rule in your own songwriting, don't be afraid to repeat notes. When it gets back to that F, that's a great example. It's going, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Okay? Another cool thing about this melody is classic, it's beautiful, and everyone knows it, but all it's doing is jumping up the scale. And then once you get to the D, it's just walking down the F scale note for note. All right, so when you're creating your own melody, don't be too scared to keep it simple. It doesn't have to be jumpy. It doesn't have to go up and down. There's some other things that you can do to keep it basic right away as well, okay? All right, so now I'm in this book. Well, I got your ear. I'm gonna I'm gonna go down to the next song, When I Fall in Love. So I'm on page 423, okay? Because what I would like you guys to do is look at this tune, When I Fall in Love, and look over there at the key signature and see if we're able to identify it together. Well, over there we have 3 B's, okay? 3 B's. So if we bring our key signature up and we look at it, which one of these has 3 B's in it? Okay, I see 2 B's for B flat. I see 4 B's for A flat. I see 5 B's for D flat. Okay, E flat has 3 flat notes. So looking at this, we know right away, by looking at that key signature, that the song that we are going to be playing in is in the key of E flat. So what I would like to do after that is say, okay, well, what are the flat notes? The flat notes we have, if we look at it, we have every good A note. We have an A flat. Every good boy, we have a B flat. Every good boy deserves fudge, and an E flat. So we have an A flat, an E flat, and a B flat in the key of E flat. So if we look at the first phrase for When I Fall in Love, page 423 of our Facebook, When I Fall in Love. It's a 5-note phrase. Our first note is the B note. Okay, Robbie. So we get back to that question that you asked me. A B note, if it's the lowest note and I can't get it, I'm already thinking about transposition. So I might think about transposing the song to the key of E, all right? But that's just, this has more to do with the key signatures today. So I look at it and it goes B, and then up to an E, okay? B, E. Oh, wait a minute. This song has B flat and E flat in it. So it's actually starting off on a B flat to an E flat. Okay? So that's where these key signatures is coming from. When I fall, every good A flat. All right, we're on fire. So this is full of all of these different flats. B flat, E flat, A flat, G, E flat. So that's that first phrase. It's interesting. It's a little dissonant. Oh, I know why. Because I was half a step flat. So what I did was I used my key signature and I looked at this tune and I analyzed that and I found out that because I know I'm in E flat, I had to make those A, E, and F, or the A, the B, and the E notes flat, and I was able to get the first phrase. Okay? All right, so that is key signatures, that is how to read them, and that is how to apply them when you are learning these new ideas. Robbie, well, I got your ear, man. Any doubts or any questions about that? Because I know that you've been working on a Smashing Pumpkins tune, and I've seen Robbie play on Instagram. Robbie, if you want to share your Instagram account for anyone watching this, they want to watch along and maybe give you a little support. And I've noticed that you've come a really, really long way, and I really appreciate you taking advantage of these lessons. So my question for you, my man, is what about this? Do you have doubts? Hey, Rob, good to see you here, man. Rob, do you have any doubts or questions about this? Or was it something that you guys knew? Was it tricky? Was it easy? Was it easier than you thought it would be? We'll open up the floor to the question time. We're gonna do some questions now, all right? So you can feel free to ask the questions. I don't know why the questions brought New York out of me, but they just did. Any doubts? Any questions? Okay, so it was good to find the melody via the scale. I can read sheet music, but you're opening some new doors for sure. Awesome. Reading in the key of C is easy. B flat also makes sense, but the E flat has confused me. Okay, it might even be a little more confusing, Robbie, because the E isn't the first one you see in the key signature. So one of those things to do would be when you're kind of confused with these things, and this is great for you, Robbie, you, Rob, anyone with this, is when you know the key signature that you're in, practice that scale. All right. Oh, it's also worth clarifying, Robbie, that we didn't play in the key of B flat. We were playing in the key of F. The key of F has one flat note in it, which is B flat. Okay. The key of E has three, which is E flat, A flat, and B flat. All right. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this is once you've determined the song that you want to learn and you have the key signature in front of you, take the time to learn the major scale that you're playing in, E flat major, and take the time to learn that different key signature and really feel that scale out. Start with F, Robbie. F only has one flat note in it. It's a really good scale for these ideas. You're going to see F a lot in this particular book. You're going to see the key of F a lot in music. Try the key of F just because of that one key signature. And don't think just because there's a B flat that it means we're in the key of B flat. That wheel, there's an attachment to that Patreon, and it's just a wheel with all these key signatures. It's worth glancing at those and getting to know them. Especially the more popular keys that you play in, C, G, D, A, F. There's some of them that are gonna just jump off the page to you right away. For example, for different chords or something like that. The chord wheel by Jim Fletcher is a great tool, Robbie, if you don't have it. Yes, the chord wheel is a great tool, and it really gonna help with all these ideas to bring them together. The more you see them, the more you're gonna internalize them, obviously, because yes, Robbie, that PDF is attached to the Patreon post. So not to the pre-post, but to this actual live post. That key signature post is tabbed in there. So when you have that and you have this fake book, that way you don't have to spend time working all that. You can say, okay, 3 sharps, I'm in the key of A. All right. And that makes sense too. If we go through the chords for the key of A, you have A, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, G major, no, E major, excuse me, 6th chord F sharp minor, and then you have your G sharp diminished chord as your 7th chord for that bad boy. Okay, no worries, Robbie. That's more after this class anyways. What I'd like you to do is download that and then go through the book and maybe find one that you know. Or now that you have that tool, you don't have to be scared off when you're shopping for sheet music like a Smashing Pumpkins song that has a couple sharps and flats. You don't have to be scared of it, all right? Now, I can't find any specific example that I'm looking at. The last thing I want to talk about before I let you guys go, yeah, Hal Leonard chord wheel book. Rob's right. I have it. You can get it used off Amazon secondhand for like $2. It's great to have, great for transposition, composition, and it will really demystify some of these ideas as the tonality as well. Okay. And again, like I said, I think I got mine for $1.29 used, and if you have Prime, free shipping. Okay, now the last thing that I want to talk about before I let you guys go is sometimes there's notes that are called non-diatonic notes. In the key of C, for example, you have A, you have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But it's really nice and tasty to make that E minor sometimes an E7. So check out this chord progression. I'll have a C, E7, A minor. Now, even though I'm playing an E7, I'm still in the key of C, which means if someone is singing, they can sing the G sharp note over that E7, even though it's not in the key. So how do you see that in the sheet music? That's a pretty good question. Well, if you look at the sheet music, even though I don't find this particular example here, a really good example of that, if you go to Fly Me to the Moon in this big book, Fly Me to the Moon, you will see a G sharp in there. And what they did is they'll have a G in the sheet music, and they'll actually have the little hashtag or the sharp note directly next to that note. So that bears worth repeating. If there is a note that is not in the major scale, but it is in the song, that will be notated directly in the sheet. All right? All right, guys. Any last questions? Any last doubts or any questions? Thank you for joining Rob. Thank you for joining Robbie. I really appreciate you guys, your dedication to these live lessons. I apologize for the disorganization, you know, but like I said, on Patreon things, I've been moving, but the moving is done, and we're looking to probably have more of a fixed date for this class. So maybe it's going to be like an every other Friday thing, so we can gain a little more momentum. All right. Like G minor 7 / C, what a wonderful world. Okay, so that's a good question, Rob. Now, a G minor / C in this particular tune, in What a Wonderful World, there is the C note is in the scale. So what's going to happen is we're not really notating any notes that aren't already in the sheet music, but what we've done is we've taken a G major chord and we've put a C note in the bass. That, when you see those slash chords like that, Rob, sometimes, unless I'm playing with the bass or if that note is vital to the melody, I just remove it. Because really that's finding a way for the piano player, which is much easy to invert the chords. And unfortunately with the ukulele, we're not really able to get those inversions quite as cleanly. So even though there isn't a C note in a G minor 7 chord, you could play that C note in the melody, no problem, or you could just omit it and play the G minor 7 as the chord. The G, it's interesting though, because C would be the 4 of the G minor 7. So in that case, you're playing both the 4 and the minor 7. That's an interesting chord. Got me thinking a little bit. All right, Robbie. All right, Rob, thank you for joining. Great that you're having a blast, Robbie. Great that you're having a blast, Rob. You guys should follow each other on Instagram. Both you guys jam this stuff, and I enjoy watching you guys progress as well. Let me know what you want to learn in 2 weeks for the next live lesson. I think what I'm going to do is start to think about maybe some hot spots and some soloing. We might go into soloing, we might go into melody, but I'll probably maybe just put a tab up or a poll for you to our patrons. All right? Friday, 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 Friday. Enjoy the weekend, and I have an epic video for you guys tomorrow. So get your fingers ready because we come up with some blisters. Take care, everybody. Let me shut down my Google Hangout, and I bid you adieu, my lovely friends. Have an awesome day.